Ugh, this is the third time that I've filmed this, and finally it's working! Yay! I don't have to do it again! Sorry. Oh gosh. Alright, I'm going to be doing some book reviews of stuff that I've been reading this summer, and some stuff that I will read this summer. And yeah, so I'm going to start with Looking for Alaska. Contemporary read by John Green. And it's, yeah, John Green. I love John Green. I read The Fault in Our Stars, and I want to read some of his other books as well. This isn't quite as good as The Fault in Our Stars, but it's really good. And I give it 4 stars, mainly because it glorifies smoking, which I am really against. Because it means like killing yourself, and it's also hurting other people, because secondhand smoke is a problem too. And it's just not fair to people who don't smoke, because they still have to pay the price. Now, actual book. So, it's a really cool layout. It's like in 2 sections. The first section is before, and then the second section is after, and I'll leave you guys to read it and find out what before and after actually mean, and what it's before and what it's after of. Yeah. And so it's about this guy named Miles, and he goes to Culver Creek boarding school in Arizona, or some state, and he's from Florida. And oh, my computer keeps coming up with all these little things that are covering my screen. It's annoying. And then he makes some friends there, which he doesn't really have any friends in Florida, so that's a really good thing for him. He meets Colonel, who's his roommate, and then Takumi, who's from Japan. And Takumi isn't really important until the end, so you'll find out why. And then Alaska Young, he meets her, and she's like looking for Alaska. She's really, really important. The whole story kind of revolves around her, even though Miles is the main character. And they call him Pudge, which is ironic because he's like really, really thin. And yeah, so they kind of get into mischief and stuff, and it's a good book. I suggest it. And yeah, so next. That's upside down. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. It's also contemporary read, and it's just, well, I can't explain it. I mean, I can explain it, but I would have to explain the whole story and everything for it to make sense, and it still doesn't make sense. After a week, I still can't get over it. It's really confusing. So that's the only thing that I want you guys to know as you go into it, so you don't, so you remember to keep track of everything, or else at the end you'll just be like, what? Yeah, so I'll read the back and the inside little blurb thing, so you guys don't know, I don't know anything more than what E. Lockhart wants. So, the back. We are Sinclairs. No one is needy. No one is wrong. We live, at least in the summertime, on a private island off the coast of Massachusetts. Perhaps that is all you need to know, except that some of us. Inside thing. A beautiful and distinguished family, a private island, a brilliant, damaged girl, passionate political boy, a group of 4 friends, the liars, whose friendship turns destructive, a revolution, an accident, secret, lies upon lies, true love, truth. Truth is like, there's like different sections in this book, and the final section is called Truth, and oh my gosh, it's sad. I would give it 5 stars just because it's so different. I can't compare it to any other book that I've ever read. Now, I've read 2 other books this summer, at least. There are 2 other that I don't have with me right now, and one of them is The One from the Selection series, and I won't tell you much about The One because if I did, it would spoil the first 2 books. But the Selection, the first book, it's about this girl who lives in Carolina, and it's dystopian. Okay, I'm gonna start over. It's a dystopian novel, and it's in the future, it's like future America, and there's 35 different state things, and yeah, 35 different state things. I lose my trail of thought sometimes, and then I just sit here and do nothing until I get it back. Okay. Yeah, and then they have this, and it's a monarchy at the time, so they have this thing called the selection where they pick a person who applies from every state city, and they go and compete to be the new princess, and the prince chooses one of them, and yeah. So her family and her current boyfriend, Aspen, and oh yeah, the main character's name is America, by the way. And so yeah, Aspen is her boyfriend, and he and her family all tell her to go and be in the selection, and so she gets selected. But she doesn't really want to be selected, but she is, so she goes, and she meets the prince, and that's all I'm going to tell you, except for the fact that it's really funny, because all the other girls didn't really want to be there, but she did, I mean, but all the other girls, they want to be there, but she doesn't really. What's happening? Okay, my grandparents are building a house, so if you hear any weird noises like I just did, probably coming from the building site over there, on the side of the house, like that away, not screen, but over the screen. Oh gosh, yeah. So the selection, I really suggest it. It's funny, it's good, it's written well, and the whole series. Just read it, okay? So yeah, hi. Yeah, and then the 4 collection, it's in the car. I have it, but the car's locked. I don't know where the keys are. So yeah, I'm not actually going to show that to you guys physically. But it's a really good book. If you've read the Divergent series, you should read it. But read the Divergent series first, and then read this, because it kind of changes your perspective on the series, and it has a few spoilers in it, kind of like Ford's name. You don't really find that out until like the middle of Divergent, but in this book you find it out at the very beginning. And so like half of it is like a prologue to Divergent from Ford's point of view, and then there's like 3 bonus scenes in the back, and yeah, those are really good because they're from his point of view, and parts that aren't actually from his point of view in the book, which are they're really funny and interesting. And yes, just read it, okay? Read these books. Alright, and then I went to Goodwill. Yeah, went to Goodwill yesterday, and I really like Goodwill as far as books go, because the kids' paperbacks are like 69 cents, which is awesome. It means I can buy like 3 books at once and not be guilty because I'm using all my money. So first of all, Revenge of the Cheerleaders. This looks pretty good. Probably not going to be one of my favorite books, but I got it anyways because it's cheap and it looks like a good book. It's by Jeanette Rallison. It's a companion novel to All's Fair in Love, War, and High School. I haven't read that book, but if this one turns out to be good, I'll read that. So, Revenge of the Cheerleaders is about this popular cheerleader girl who she gets like dumped and a lot of things are her life is kind of bad at the moment. And then her sister's boyfriend, he is in a band, and they release an album all with songs about cheerleaders, and they're like dissing cheerleaders. So then she's really mad about that, so she's trying to get revenge on them. Hence the name, Revenge of the Cheerleaders. So this looks pretty good. I haven't read it yet, and I will though, eventually. I haven't read any of the Cleek novels, but I got these 2, just because they're part of like the summer collection, which is just 5, so I only have to read those 5, and they're really short and pretty easy reads. Not like incredibly easy, but I mean, yeah, it's like, I wouldn't necessarily call it a YA novel, because it's one of those books where it works for teenagers, but it really doesn't work for anybody else. Teenage girls. And so, I won't tell you about this one because I'm too lazy. And I haven't read it yet. But I started this one, and it seems pretty good. Normally, books are from an unpopular girl's point of view, which is good because I can relate to it. But these 3 are all from popular girls' points of view, which are kind of different and funny. Because yeah, it's really interesting to see how these girls think, but it's also hilarious because I'm constantly rolling my eyes at them because they're just it's just like they have no life other than competing with their friends and makeup and shopping. I don't know how you can live like that. I'm sorry, Lissy Harrison. Is I think I pronounced your name right? But your characters are terrible. I mean, not like, I mean, they have to exist, but I don't like the characters. I mean, I don't like these girls. They just seem so bad. But I'm reading it anyways, because it's a pretty good story. So, yeah, she goes with her TV host mom to Hawaii, because her mom's going to interview this diva tennis player girl, and then so Dylan, this girl, she meets this guy who she likes, and then he's really into tennis, so she pretends that she's into tennis when all she really is into is shopping and looking pretty. And then it's one of those stories where the protagonist, they have a plan, and you're just like, no, that plan's gonna fail. It's gonna blow up in your face. They do the plan anyways, and I'm guessing it's gonna fail and blow up in their face. So that's my last book for today. I get very emotional over books if you have not noticed. And I can't have this palate expander thing in my mouth. And so lately I've just not, at first I couldn't talk it like at all. I mean I could, but it sounded really weird. And now I just kind of stumble over a few words. Like, the 3 times that I filmed this is the 3rd time I tried to film it, I pronounced perhaps wrong. All 3 times. Now I actually said perhaps right. Okay, so now I'm just going to give you a little explain about Brianna and I, and why we haven't been uploading. So Brianna's grandparents don't really have Wi-Fi, so she hasn't been able to get it other than like the library or something, so she has an excuse. My excuse! My grandparents that I was just at, they don't have Wi-Fi, so I do that. And then we've been really busy going from around places, and I have a video that I will edit, and I will get it out today, because we filmed it before school is out, and I'm almost done. Yeah, so next week I'm going to South Carolina, and then after that I'm going to Michigan, Wisconsin area, and those are both like vacation thingies. So I might be able to get out some cool videos. I might be able to film some cool videos while I'm there, but I probably won't have time to edit them for like a month. Because that's what happens with me. All my videos, like when they are out, it's like a month after they were filmed, because I think Brianna and I are just so lazy with editing and stuff. Hey, I'm going to stop this broadcast. I really, really hope that it worked this time. If it didn't, I will absolutely die. Just die. Yeah. Okay. I need to get to my computer. It's so far away. Okay. Stop.